everyone, Buckling One here and welcome to my second episode of Weapon Guide. Today we'll be looking at the M416, also known as the HK416, a variant on the Colt M4 carbine designed by Heckler & Koch. Arguably one of the best assault rifles in the game due to its versatility, here's a look at why this weapon is favoured by many in the Battlefield series. The M416 was a firm favourite in Battlefield 3, and the same can be said for Battlefield 4. It has a good rate of fire for an assault rifle, 750 rounds per minute. Recoil is very easy to control on this weapon, and the reload speed is absolutely fantastic on this gun, coming in at 1.85 seconds. This is the third fastest reload time for any primary weapon in the game. As I mentioned before, the M416 is an incredibly versatile weapon. It is good at close quarters combat as well as long range encounters. It does fit well into any scenario that you may come across, except for extremely long distances. For close quarters, the rate of fire can be very effective when facing weapons with a slower rate, and the maximum damage on the weapon is a decent 24 per shot to a range of around 8 meters. Then the damage does drop off to a minimum of 18 per shot, leveling off at around 55 meters, which is pretty standard for an assault rifle. The most bullets you will need to kill at distance is 6, provided that they are all body shots. For this reason, I recommend the use of 2 sight attachments, a 4x ACOG scope for those longer range encounters, and a canted iron sights to switch quickly if you find yourself at a closer range. Recoil is very manageable, but to help even more, I recommend using an ergo grip or an angle grip to really tighten up the recoil handling, as well as a muzzle brake to counteract the slight upwards kick when shooting automatic fire. Going back to the versatility of the M416, you can deploy various different styles of play, be it run and gun aggressively or defensive, staying behind the lines and keeping your enemy at a distance style. I do think, however, that the M416 would be slightly better suited to a more distant role, staying behind your teammates in the front line, reviving your downed teammates and picking off enemies behind cover. This is usually how I will use the M416, but you can see that I do tend to switch it up if I need to make a push on the objective or go for a disarm on the MCOM. Another good loadout for this weapon would be to swap out the ACOG scope for a hollow or red dot sight, change the canted sights to a target pointer for more precise hip fire, and swap the muzzle brake for a suppressor. The advantage to this is that you will remain off the enemy's minimap unless spotted, so you can sneak around the enemy's flank to gain an advantage if playing the objective in rush. I like to be able to flank enemies, and the M416 gives me great performance both when surprising enemies and if I do happen to get caught. So what are the downsides to the M416? To be honest, there aren't many. The maximum distance goes out to 900 meters, which is bested by the likes of the QBZ and the AEK, but that doesn't really matter because you'll never be in an engagement that is that far out, to be honest. That's sniper rifle distance, not assault rifle. The M416 does have a lower muzzle velocity of 600 meters per second when compared to that of the ACE-23, FAMAS and L85A2, but this will only really affect you at medium to longer ranges. Basically, muzzle velocity in Battlefield 4 affects the bullet drop and also the speed of your bullet. This means a lower velocity bullet will take longer to reach its target, meaning you will have to aim slightly ahead of your target at longer ranges. Do bear in mind as well that placing a suppressor on the M416 will effectively halve the muzzle velocity, coming in at 340 meters per second. You can see here as well from these last couple of clips that have shown that I've been using a flare sight in Operation Locker. This is a great tip for any of you that like to play this map defensively, as enemies tend to use smoke grenades to cover their movements, but the flare sight can see right through the smoke. You can of course use smoke grenades against your enemies and really take advantage of their confusion and disorientation by not being able to see properly, whereas you have perfect line of sight. A couple of things to watch out for though are flares, as they will blind the flare sight, and the cold weather on the outside areas of the map combined with the white of the snow can be very disorienting through the scope. Again, the canted iron sights are very effective in these situations, as it allows me to quickly change from the flare to my iron sights if I need to engage an enemy at close quarters. One thing that many people forget about in Battlefield 4 is the fact that you can change your rate of fire to either burst or single shot. This is done by pressing down on the D-pad on both Xbox and PlayStation, as well as using the V key on PC. The advantage to this is that it enables you to really control your recoil at longer ranges, and if your trigger finger is fast enough, you can still get a decent rate of fire from the weapon. Again, you do have to bear in mind that you can need up to 6 shots to kill an enemy at these longer ranges, but it is a useful way of landing accurate shots as well as potentially conserving ammo. So overall, what do I think of the M416? It is a great all-round weapon and you can unlock it early on in the game, which really does help. I think it is fantastic for people who may be newer to the game, as it is easy to use and there are no real faults with it. It has been one of my favourite assault rifles since Bad Company 2 through to Battlefield 3 and now Battlefield 4. Overall, I would give it a 9 out of 10 for damage, as the Scar H does beat it for damage. Rate of fire, I would give it a good 8 out of 10, beaten by the likes of the AEK, Ace 23, FAMAS, but still a good rate of fire for an assault rifle. I would have to give the recoil a 10 out of 10, as it is pretty non-existent, and for all round versatility it has to be a 10 out of 10 for the M416. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with my ratings? Let me know in the comments section below what you thought. Also, if you found this video helpful, do leave a like and make sure to subscribe for more weapon guides, where we will be covering the Scar H next. You can also click the playlist link to watch my other weapon review on the AR-160, as well as any further videos that I do put out will be put into this playlist. As always guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next weapon guide.